This session is about bringing closer the desktop and the netbook images, and it makes even more sense now that we will have just one UI, which is Unity. Previously, until Lucid, we had a netbook launcher, which was a different UI from the desktop one. So this session is about reviewing what makes the netbook version different from the desktop one, and to see if we can have something to make it lighter, to not have double maintenance and stuff like that. So as a starting point, I first reviewed what will be the difference between the netbook and the desktop version if we saw in our Unity. So in Nati, I look at the two seats. So the two seats we have, and the only difference is with two applications. We have Zero on the desktop, and we don't have it on the netbook, as not a lot of netbooks are a burner, a CD burner. And in the netbook, contrary so to the desktop one, we added cheese, as most of netbooks has a webcam built in. Apart from that, it's just minor changes, which is more or less some errors, maybe in syncing and stuff like that. Of course, we have just the right long backlist in UAE because we have French, and we don't have the desktop. So we don't have a lot of difference. So maybe, yeah.
But didn't you say we will install what is it, Banshee by default?
So yeah.
So we do it currently, or was it just?
No, we didn't. We didn't because of timing issues. We work with Banshee guys to have the UDS backend. Unfortunately, it was too late. Even if the Debian CLI guys are.
So this is not a current. This is not a current difference.
This is not a common difference. This was a plan difference.
No, that's okay. Let's just make sure that we didn't forget anything.
But this was the point. The point is that if we are going to just have one CD, for instance, we have to have the same default applications.
Which is good.
So I think that just that difference we have today, where the old cheese can be removed, I think we don't care too much if we install Zero.
Right. And what about what's going on with cheese upstream? I noticed many users noticed that the video functionality wasn't working terribly well. I guess it seemed to be encoding on the fly and the performance was.
Yeah, I think it's mostly GStreamer. I think Robert had a look.
I had a look, but it needs a GStreamer expert to understand what's going on. Yeah, it's not keeping up the video in encoding.
Yeah. So I was able to
to
duplicate it with GStreamer rather easy. Like as long as any kind of encoder that I added, it couldn't keep up. And if I had no encoder, it could keep up just fine. And we know that GDK record my desktop works, so I would assume we could apply some kind of functionality like that, but I don't think we'll have time to work on cheese this cycle and also on Unity. So I propose that we just take cheese out of either for the time being, and if somebody, we can make it a featured application for netbook users or something if we can't. We can get it.
I'm a bit more concerned about removing the Zero because like running CDs seems to be some kind of basic functionality.
I think we should put Zero in both.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will present both. We just have Zeros that we don't choose in our netbooks, but I would say it's not too much overhead, so let's keep it. Yeah.
Same thing with OpenOffice or another.
and they can remove it from the software center pretty quickly.
For Zero, they can?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it try to remove the Ubuntu Desktop if they did that?
Well, not if it's a recommend.
Okay. So can we set it as a recommends then?
So
Then
I
it'll
think
be-
we should keep it. We should keep the Zero. It's working well, and
Yeah.
I mean, telling users like you can't run a CD seems like a weird proposition to make.
So I think all agreeing there to kill a seed and to have a common CD between desktop and netbooks.
Right. So which brings up then, there's going to be a lot of applications which can be launched in netbook mode and not in netbook mode. So what I would like is that when the users were installing, that Ubiquity knew whether to set it up for a desktop or a netbook. And a desktop being like a laptop or a desktop. So I'd like it to not be like the user says, I want a netbook or a desktop installed, but it goes from screen size or something else.
I would say it's more something on runtime than instant time. Like for instance, Unity can detect if the screen size is small or big, and just decide at this moment rather than at installation time.
Unity has to? So it'd be working Unity? Seems like
Yeah,
Unity.
Well, like each individual application does, right?
Yeah, it's
I
like
can
more
tell you
applications
how
to make the decision.
I can tell you how we've done it in Ubuntu. It's done at login time when you log in, the test is done. And we went through a few iterations of how you actually test what is a network, because it's not a well-defined concept. But the end result was it doesn't have a CD, it's a laptop that has a battery, and it has a screen that's smaller than 700 pixels high. And I haven't had any complaints since we did that of people going, why am I getting the network settings on my non-network? So that seems to be quite a nice thing. But in Ubuntu, the change there is which workspace you're loading up. I think what you guys are doing is which applications you're loading up, so it might be more appropriate to do that at install time rather than at login time. But it makes sense to keep the test the same of working out what isn't a network.
What about the case where you have external monitor plugins?
Yeah,
So you
right,
need
that was
But the fact about my concern is your behavior on small screens, that it seems to me that what we should be testing is the screen size. Like if, say, like the evolution window is too small for a 600 pixel screen, then it's evolution which should test the behavior accordingly. But what evolution isn't concerned about, like CD drives, and likewise Prosaro isn't concerned about screen size and so on. So it seems like a per application problem to me. Do we have an actual use case of like which application is behaving differently on desktop versus
I
network?
think Evolution and Banshee both have that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like-
So, for instance, this is Evolution Express. So we have a patch to backport that, in fact. The difference is not really noticeable, but if I can have a try to launch the normal Evolution. So,
Well, you don't have the
so
buttons for all the other.
yeah, here normally you have 2 bars instead of 1, so the menu is condensed. You don't have here the switch between the different modes. So the UI is a little bit better. You have also less options, and the option, the edit properties is better. Also, it fits the screen. It doesn't fit in the normal mode. But so Evolution is a special case. First, we should maybe go to Banshee. Banshee is the one or one. You launch the netbook mode or you launch the full mode. Evolution is a little bit more complex because here you see that I can't easily switch to other part like calendar. So we have 3 desktop files. We have one for mail, one for contacts, and one for calendar.
We just always have that.
Just always have that? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Why don't we just, would it be feasible for just Evolution to
Well,
always work that in the netbook mode? What they call netbook mode, even on the desktop?
Yeah,
I would love it to be that way, but
What is the
sure enough,
what
can
do you-
move
Well,
on.
the
Yeah.
desktop file spec had a way of specifying that certain desktop files should only be shown if you're in a certain session type. Is that true?
There is no station
Well,
type.
it's
So
no-
You can only say whether it's known capable here.
But we
Yeah, I
can
tend
add
to agree
it.
with Pity. I think
That's
just always run Evolution and Express.
Like,
So how do you set your calendar?
Like
It's a nice
So-
UI
Yeah.
graphics of the slide deck's
So I
great.
have to go to calendar?
So you have to go to the places.
Is there a way for the
for
user?
Evolution, you have that. You have one desktop file for calendar, one for contact, and
It
one
seems
other
to
for the
make
mail.
so much
So
more
it's right
sense.
up here.
Yeah,
And this
I agree.
launches another window.
It's like we don't have a game
Like,
shell
I think
where
it's a
we
good
launch 3 different games. or-
So can we make it so that the user, can we make a package that installs, which is like Evolution Classic, and we can like
All right. yeah,
replace
so
these 3? So like if a user wants to go back. It's just when you're changing people's like,
Yeah, but they're
Yeah,
used
but
to.
believe me, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing
You're right, yeah.
It's only a different desktop file.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
Well, so I'm
Yeah.
asking like, from the user's point of view, they just installed the desktop and they got this new way of doing it, and a lot of them are gonna go, what? I can't click the calendar button in the same place that I always did, blah, blah, blah. I'd like to be able to say, it's okay, you can just do X to get your experience back. What is that
Yeah.
X thing?
open the menu editor and activate, deactivate
Just
the menu.
Oh, is it all just GCOPS?
Activate the menu.
Yeah, just click on the. It will be like in the menu, but
So the desktop file is
You're
there.
gonna view
but-
switcher, right?
Yeah, by default, you should just you could like just go there and activate them.
What happens if I run evolution from the command?
So evolution is running evolution. The full.
It runs the full thing.
Yeah,
evolution dash contact.
dash express
Yeah.
and you see contact.
Yeah,
So
so like conceptually, things we're
Just
trying to get away from these three kind of things.
Did you make a new Evolution Express package, or did you patch?
No,
Or
it's so I patched what the desktop file, the evolution package, and installed in a different parts of
So,
the file hierarchy, and so we are tweaking the XDG data path depending on the session you choose. So if you choose the netbook session, you are driven straight away to this XDG data path that hides the normal evolution. And if you are in the GNOME session, you just see the desktop file.
So I just think it's important that we document to users how to get back to the classic evolution UI because we're messing with people's email, and believe me.
Well, the classic, if we think about this size, I can run the classic one, you will see it's not usable at all.
Right, but if they're on a desktop,
Yeah,
It will
but
be
it
usable.
should be at the login time. If we detect the screen size, we can say, oh, this version doesn't run there, so let's choose the three others. Or
no, I kind of feel like it should be the same in both because if they're switching to the desktop and their netbook, I'd like them by default to be able to transition their workflow between.
So you don't want the application to be clever enough to detect which one
Well,
should run?
I think my point where I have voiced it, that even on the desktop where you have a bigger screen size, it's not really a good reason to just waste that screen size with 5 different buttons, which allow you to switch between applications, because you already have a bar which allows you to switch between different applications.
And it also, I think it'd be better where possible to have a consistent, like it's unity, right? So I think the idea is like you're transitioning, like you can transfer your experience between different devices and screen size. So I think if by default you can have the same experience on both, that would be better. But if you're an office worker and someone's screwing with your email, the way your email's set up, there's a good chance you're going to go nonlinear. So we just need to. Am I making sense, did you?
I mean, you could just tell like these 4 buttons, email, contact, but just moved a little bit to the left, right?
I would just tell them how to turn it back on.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Like and just be done
no,
with it.
no problem with that. I mean, just meaning it's not that we make all the other apps inaccessible.
Or just then change like upgrades and do it the new way on the new installation.
And then if they do a new installation, tell them how to get back to classic.
So here is normal evolution on your small screen size, as you can see.
Yeah, nobody's saying that we should do this on a netbook, DJ.
Yeah.
We're saying that we don't think it should be, we shouldn't do the clever thing. I think that's what we're saying.
Run Express on the
Yeah.
desktop.
We should run the Express view on the desktop
And give
by
an easy-
default. But
Give an easy way to.
right.
And,
Well, it sounds like there already is an easy way.
just
Yeah.
gotta
Just
do
tell
the
them how to
switches.
do it.
Yeah.
Just document it.
Yeah.
Well, likewise for Browser, it just seems that like an application which behaves differently on different screen sizes should ideally just detect it on its startup. So if you start Browser, it checks the screen size and then shows or hides things depending on it, benching. Yeah.
So Benchy wants
Like any
to make these
application.
clever things.
Hmm?
So sorry, I didn't follow. So for Benchy, you want to change the UI depending on the.
I don't know what the experience
Well, I'm not
is.
saying that Benchy should, I'm just saying that an application, when an application starts up and it wants to behave differently on different screen sizes, then seems to me that the best point to decide that is when the application starts up.
You want the application to be responsible for configuring itself for the screen
mean-
size, not for the environment to tell
Right.
the application.
Well, in the end, the application has to test it anyway, whether the application tests the screen size or tests for some magic environment variable, there needs to be this distinction in the application anyway.
As long as you ensure that all applications have the same detection method. You don't want some being
Well,
in
there's
some.
a standard Xcall which gives you
Whatever.
the
There's some way,
behind the
as long
screen.
as it's not up to each application to decide for itself, and then they implement it differently. That would be bad.
Sure, yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily bad, I mean, as long as each application does the right thing,
Yeah.
depending on the screen size, it doesn't really matter how they implement it.
I think if it does that, then the application must have a GUI control to get back to the bitmap. So if you start it there and drag it over, you can go back to the
Yeah.
bitmap.
But it still seems like a per application problem to
Yeah. I think so. Because it depends on how small the UI goes. Like, they're not going to fit the same screen.
So like there are ways to be smart about there are ways to be smart about that with like so the X-Call, if you've got a bigger monitor plugged in, the X-Call will get you both.
Yeah.
And then you can say, okay, there is a big monitor here, it's plugged in, I'll go to big mode and trust that the window manager will put me on the appropriate display because I'm bigger than the small display. I'm not sure if our window managers are smart enough to do that, but they absolutely should be. If you pop up a window that's bigger than one of your screens but fits on the other, that's where the window manager should be popping it up. And bye-bye.
So he told me to move my music to her.
Are you doing a distant upgrade in between?
Yeah.
Ah.
No, I'm just installing Benchy and Netbook UI just to show you. But yeah, so Benchy has a button to tell I want to go back to this UI or the other one. So we can rely on the detection, and if the user isn't happy with the decision, we can switch back to the other one.
So do we merge? Sorry. Do we merge Banshee Miko into Banshee then and get rid of that package? Or are we doing the detection in Banshee itself?
That would be
We
good.
would need a separate package then.
But is it possible because it's in the community extension? No, it's on the core. So
It's just a
It's just a different user interface in Banshee itself.
So do we actually plan to switch to Banshee this cycle?
so that's the question because I'm talking about Benchy, but
The session is tomorrow.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you had decided.
Yeah, we mostly agree that we want to use Banshee, but still the session is tomorrow.
I personally find Rhythm Box works fine when I bring it up. So
You're welcome to install.
what?
You will find it in the Ubuntu software.
He said you're welcome to install it.
What's your
okay, so
What are those?
Mongobi, so
Can someone take notes in a text doc until we
is someone connected to Gobi or not?
I assume we all lost it.
Yeah, I can disconnect
I was wondering, what if you've got a netbook and you connect to a large monitor, and what interface will it show? Will you have the netbook interface there, or will there be a way to transparently switch to the larger interface?
Chris was just saying that with the X-Call, you would detect both monitors, decide to choose the big one, and then trust that the window manager puts it on the correct display.
I think that would be the correct behaviour.
That would be
That's not necessarily what would happen right now.
It should depend on the primary window, your primary screen.
Is this
Well, but in
the
general,
desktop?
I
Primary
find
display is
So
probably
this is
reason.
the desktop
Yes.
one.
And also my feeling is like if you install something that you consider a netbook and then attach
This
a
works
screen to
fine,
it, it
yeah.
should behave like a desktop, right?
Yeah.
Because then you do have the space and everything. So this is why also I'm deeply convinced that doing this check and detection time is wrong. And install time is wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Like session startup or
I would
even
definitely
application
like to see
start.
that.
Sorry?
I would definitely like to see that behavior developed in the very least, because I think it would be applicable in other cases.
Yeah, even like if you're using a tab window manager and then you just have this corner of the screen, then you still do the right thing for you and so on. Or like you could do the right thing on the live CD itself, like on the live system.
I would suspect in the preferences of Banshee, you put something like start on network mode always, or large mode.
Or auto management.
Yeah.
And just not auto
That's
management.
something you can agree with, so
Could be.
to select which one you want.
Because some people are going to want it always on, and they'll be in a way that every time they have it still on, it keeps showing up small. I don't keep staying big.
Sure.
Right.
So I think we're going to have to make it so
Oh,
people
so
who know what
when
they want can say.
you- so when you talk about the big line, then next time you
So
start,
this is a
do
new
that
one.
again.
Maybe,
As
I wouldn't want to have
as
to
my
change it
screen.
every time.
Exactly, that would get really lonely.
Take a penalty card, doesn't it?
But also, you wouldn't want to start stating you're only in source.
And so you
couldn't restart.
I couldn't install.
Close it. Start it again.
Ah,
Big red looks better.
Yeah, but because my screen is really
Because of external.
Okay. So this already, and does it do the right thing on start? So right now it currently doesn't.
No, now it just does the switch, and so there is two desktop file, which has the same name, but as I'm tweaking the ETG that adheres, the first one is picked up.
It'd be a very small patch to do that just change.
Yeah.
Should be
That's a command line.
It should be easy enough to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want this reference in then we should have that in everything or just in nothing.
Sure.
There should be some kind of policy in that.
Yeah.
So
Runtime detection and also allowing the user to force which mode is chosen. It should be the same in all applications.
So
then you want to globally classify.
Oh, huge edit window there.
Yeah, maybe that wants to be a session preference instead of an application.
So do you see other applications which can be affected by that? No. I just the other one. I'm just checking. There's the second one. So I can put this one. So, okay. So do you see other applications that that should have this map detection or something like that? That the UI should be changed for netbook?
Other applications.
Other applications.
How many other applications do we have that are currently cached?
Two, evolution and Vinci.
The games I fixed upstream. So preferences dialog, some of the
Some of the preferences are yours then. Not very good still. We get some bug report exams.
We don't currently do anything in Firefox.
I just want to say the same thing. Yeah. So like you could hide some toolbars and just move them side by side and so on.
But we use Aaron.
I propose that.
Just that the first thing I do in the installation is remove these 10 million toolbars.
Yeah.
I propose that 1 year ago, something like that, and I talked to Mozilla people, but they wasn't very receptive, and they thought that it would be a trademark violation.
Oh, yeah.
I changed the default period, so.
Oh,
You're right.
So I tried that 1 year ago. I don't
Okay.
know if we
It's all this like.
well, then I guess
you
let's
discuss with them. or-
just not discuss it further.
So, just like.
It's just like the only thing that comes to my mind right now. Like applications which behave badly on small screen.
Right, yeah.
Then of course one has some small things like from discontinuity.
Huh.
So I think we are good for Banshee and the evolution.
Why don't we just always install Banshee and then? Oh, no, there's no menus.
Yeah, it's
Yes, there is no menus.
It's a reduced UI.
It's a reduced UI.
There's no
There's not
volume
even
either.
menus.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is because they don't have global menu. So like our netbook,
No, it's because it's intended for Migo, where that's just a panel view.
where they have no global menu. So we can have a better experience.
We can have a better experience. We can have a better experience
Yeah.
with the menu. I removed, I have a lot of patches for this UI, in fact, compared to the Migo one. Because normally it's really integrated to Migo, you have the panel.
It just seems like if we brought the menu back, then you could just like start in this netbook mode even on the desktop and then let the user bring in the
I think we need to bring in the volume
I haven't used it
as well.
Let me start the network mode on my desktop and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Or just the global.
No, for raises the volume keys on that, or the master volume.
Yeah.
Whereas the volume one in Banshee is just the volume of Banshee. I don't think that
Unless
UI
we
is intended to be a netbook UI, it was more that was just panel.
To be honest,
In some
on my netbook, the desktop one works fine. Like
Yeah, I agree.
why don't we just forget about the netbook mode for Migo?
It's not really, well, the desk volume that was quite nice because you can get, this really nice view of all your album art, whereas on a netbook normally it's like this big and it looks like crap. This is more so you can play your media and manage your queue, but there's no functionality in this mode, I don't believe, to do like importing or.
Or to manage.
You can't, for instance, go to
Purely
source.
consumption.
Yeah.
Yes, it's probably consumption.
We'd have to create a whole new view to store
But
for
the
podcasts.
Satisfying as
The
much
normal
as
mode is just.
But you have so few albums. This is my laptop on my PC.
I can switch.
Doesn't that conclude does actually have
Just
this kind of
years, 'cause
thing?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's lots of people that lots of music here.
I can't get to the menu to turn it on.
It should just be there.
I'm using Mail.
Sorry?
No, never mind.
That's the standard version, you can do it there, but in the network interface, that sidebar nonetheless isn't there. You just have your source.
It's just the green display everything for everyone.
Everything.
I can't even, I can't get the button to go back to the main menu.
Yeah, I added the button to switch between the two interfaces.
Well, why don't we just default to the desktop one and then let the user switch to this? And then we're just done.
It's easy enough to switch. So you want to default to the desktop one, but do we still install
And then just leave that
interface
there.
or not?
What? And just leave that there. And you just
But do you, because it's only because I installed the netbook interface that I have this button, so do you install it or not by default?
Well, I think the button was too nice to have even on the desktop.
yeah, what I'm saying is, load the normal desktop with that button.
Very small.
Exactly what you have here. Just keep that thing inside, and the user can just.
That means
You
installing
just say
Magic
that's
Migo package to get that button.
Right, but then default to the desktop. What?
Well, as long as it still fits on the
Yeah.
screen and you see
Yeah.
everything, and it doesn't look
Maybe it's worth using
ridiculous.
this thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, but they know like.
I'm violently agreeing to you. So.
I think it looks fun, yeah, I just don't know what's better, like what people would like more.
Well, I mean, we could do some work to add a protect screen size when we start up.
Yeah.
If there's 50 user addresses.
It doesn't seem to be like the most pressing thing. If you look at this is 1024, right? So because it's even, so this is even worse than you would normally have.
Correct. I was just looking at online, but like without having any way to manage your collection, it just is unique.
Yeah, that's why also I added.
And do you have access to
something like that? Oh, nice.
Oh, you don't have that album? Oh, that's great.
No, it should still, no, something's broken with yours. I use that feature all the time.
Okay. In fact, if you have no match, as we can't import something like that, the patch to tell, oh, you have, you don't have the album, blah 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 blah. You can directly
By now.
yeah, not by now. It's just you can import it from there. But so also okay, let's remove the patches.
Well, so it seems that in general, like network and desktop are fairly close together so far.
Yeah, I think most of the differences are going to be in the window manager,
Oh, the music.
which I don't think we're not.
Oh,
Just,
So like,
Do we have to tell, who's going to tell Unity whether to run in desktop mode or not?
Unity.
yeah, that's
That's what
that's
it's not.
not good.
The Unity team's going to manage that.
Yeah.
That's basically run Maximus, right?
well,
Is
so
it
we
in front
Compass,
of-
well, with the Compass plugin, and you, depending on the screen size, you would enable or not enable the maximization plugin.
Yeah,
But they-
would write a decon key or just at the same time, right? So, yeah.
Do we,
But a G-conf key.
so you know for a fact
should
the
we,
Unity
should we
team's
do this
handling?
Yeah.
like on
The
session start?
detection at
Depending on the screen size?
floating time.
And then like Compass will read it and it can so enable or not the
For the
maximum
Unity
plugin.
team?
Yeah,
Sure.
for the one CD experience, essentially, detection style, fallback process, and experience. And stuff like that. That's a shared space, not so much for the Unity.
We're just discussing like the application differences, and we're finding that there's actually going to be
Oh, I see.
no work really involved. We're just,
But, yeah, I prefer essentially having some sort of apps that are really talking about difference in behavioral.
we're going to have the same set of apps, so we're actually finding we don't, there's like little behavior, if any, that we need to tweak. So,
Well, so maximize by default and things like that, that's what I mean.
right,
Like
so
the launcher visibility by default and things like that.
that's all in Unity.
I find that, but there are other things like, so whether we use, what's the view of music there? Is it?
Magic Migo, we were just
We're
discussing.
actually just finished discussing that like on the system
So
evolution.
some apps have like a magic interface. interface.
Evolution Express.
So we know what those apps to watch the system view of what kind of device they
So-
are, either follow that or do something.
So we decided, identified Evolution and Banshee as ones like that. And so for Evolution, we actually decided we kind of like the Evolution Express view better for the desktop mode anyway. Because the main difference is it doesn't combine all the 3 calendar contacts and email together. So we're just going to do that, but then we're going to tell users, by the way, you can go, we need to tell them how to go back if they want the classic mode because people's email. And so sometimes, we'll tell them how to go back. So that's handled. It's just going to be the same both places.
So then it's a question of, can it just maximize by default? And what about Banshee?
So Banshee, we decided that it's going to come up in the desktop mode, but Diddy has already added a button that you can change it into netbook mode. So
I mean, it's coming up on a netbook.
Wow. The issue is that the screen size here is not good, so the netbook mode is worse than the desktop one. But
The difficulty with this too is that, sorry, the netbook mode, is that you don't have access to the left, so you can't get to all the other stuff.
Yeah, but
So
I
like
guess
you can't get to
What's
the
the resolution?
yeah, it's on because of the screen.
Yeah, okay.
It's good on a small screen normally if we are
Because 1024 by 600?
yeah.
it's basically not netbook mode, desktop mode. It's like it's modified. It's like work in your library mode versus consuming mode. And so what we want is that like as much as possible, if users switch between their desktop, their laptop, and their netbook, they have like the exact same experience. And they're like, oh yeah, I forgot. It's like configured slightly different here.
Okay.
So
So we'll get that spec public, and it basically talks about what you can't setting that can be watched, what KDE guys would do to effectively keep track of the same data set, and the preferred expression for the way the preferences would be in cases where an app has to wants to have a preference for the users.
right. Yeah. So I'm not. So I think for the ecosystem, that's going to be really important. But something like for the desktop team, you could be able to make some early choices and just it'll just rip through and work.
So I'll send that guys to an office.
Will the window manager buttons close, maximize and minimize go in the panel as well as the desktop version if you maximize?
If you maximize, yes.
Oh, alright. They will stay.
So the experience will be completely the same. If you maximize on the desktop, you'll have essentially a full screen application with the title bar and menu in the panel.
Make sure you get that in the notes. A lot of people have been wondering.
Yeah,
It should be on display for the Unity speakers.
it's one of the most difficult visual glitches with where Unity is right now is the interaction between the title, window title, and the menu, but that will be cleaned up. The least it's changing obviously is the launcher automatic.
One of the things we need to keep our eye on Migo apps, so that in the netbook view, they don't have a menu, so they took away the menu, and there's really no reason to. So we need to keep our eye on that.
But in other words, we might bring a menu back to need for Migo apps.
If the Migo app took it away, because they need to save space, Unity is space conscious with the menu, so.
We'll probably have some stylistic view, and then the menus are less relevant these days, but we've just provided a mechanism to keep them just hidden.
And remember, in the case of certain apps like Banshee, when we started looking at shipping, they dropped the Migo specific parts in the name and in the UI. So they are keeping us in mind as well when they're designing this.
That's cool. They're cool guys. They're a good upstream.
So I'm looking at the guys I want to run. Is anybody have a question for me?
Are there any? I feel like we're forgetting apps. Seems like too easy. I feel like it's too easy. So I said Rosero on both, cheese on either.
I have a question about that. Who's seen it? Why on both? I've never seen a netbook with an optical drive.
We don't have it both.
Yes,
One
one we just
I see.
We just decided to drop, in fact, the Unity and just to have one, which is
Okay. So what will happen if I don't have will the OS know I don't have an optical disc and hide it?
You just need to go to software and uninstall it.
You really don't want it.
Okay.
But you get to plug them into your USB drive.
Okay, I see.
Another question is a set of apps that we want to expose in the launcher by default.
Yeah, that can be different.
The Nautilus should go in there. So we expressly want a file.
You want that on both, right?
That's an install time thing.
Pardon?
Add an install time you detect and then set the default.
So we want Nautilus in both cases.
Yeah. Or,
Well, I guess what you're saying is maybe we want to have a difference in the launcher. So upgrades, you did rocks with the code to essentially pull in from the desktop and panels. And essentially, I think we should take a view on what ones we want to have. Nautilus definitely. The file management in Dash isn't good enough to do without that.
Browser.
Firefox. Browser.
Music?
No, because we should be able to launch it from the messaging.
Oh, right.
The music movie. Sound.
Yeah, but it's not.
Same with email.
Yeah, but it's not appearing before the first registration. So you have to launch it once.
So that's a change that we should have. The default app should be essentially there by default.
As in the
If
messaging
you
menu.
app get the Amarok and then run Amarok, then you also have it. So it's exactly the same pattern as messaging.
But does someone need to do work to make it show up by default in the sound menu?
Yeah.
Who's gonna?
Please try on the
Where do you guess?
I have a bonfire installed already.
Pardon?
I have a bonfire installed already, so default.
Okay, somebody should do it.
No.
Somebody gets to it before Connor.
A harder question is that with the boxes is the music.
We have the community model.
And he's asking, is it gonna be Banshee or music player?
What the policy going forward should be that when we initial conversations mentioned before bringing on by default, with our default apps we will tend to give generic names too.
I think it should be music player and it should be movie editor.
That's what Gnome is doing already, like Totem is a video player.
So we should have a conversation with the upstream because it's their name.
Movie.
But we do show chat, broadcasting, and email in the messaging menu. So
Right.
it makes sense to say to call it music player.
Right, but from a politeness point of view, we need to have a conversation because
We'll talk to them. They'll be at the RC session tomorrow. I don't think it'll be a problem.
Okay, make sure they're cool.
That's how we preserve the original, their app indicator to show their brand, but still match our artwork guidelines. So that it's the same kind of issue.
so we shouldn't have app indicators in addition to if we've got something.
Oh,
we
no,
don't
I'm
need it
saying
anymore.
in the past we worked with an upstream to talk about issues like this.
Okay.
We already dropped that patch.
Well, it's not really a patch, it's for Banshee anyway, it's.
Yeah.
It's still a repositories, but it's still repositories that can know what is not installed by default. So
What's in the repositories?
an event is an indicator.
An app indicator. So if,
Yeah.
if they want to get their icon on the panel, every time someone can get it.
I'm implemented.
Yeah, so they wanted to match our style, but you see the little B next to the thing?
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's also their brand. So
Nice.
they've been willing to
It's a
work
nice
with us
icon.
in the past. So it's the same kind of issue we'll have when talking about that name.
Who's gonna?
Might be willing to take that icon into the sound menu.
Yeah.
That's the default.
Yeah.
That's the default.
That would be very nice.
There it is. Yeah.
Perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to.
Might
They have to
be
be there with a bench, yeah.
willing.
You have to enable the imprint extension.
Could you make sure that the sound menu plugin is installed by default?
Actually, it's not the imprint one, there's a specific one for the sound menu.
That would be cool.
Right, because it's an interesting compromise. We've kept
Exactly.
So it would still be music player.
And I also
The only downside of that is if we decide to change the music player, then the icon's changing for a user, and so that might trump it. The branding inside the app is fine.
What about the help about?
So we're aware of the sound menu thing?
No, I think inside the app would be done.
It's about Banshee. When you're
Oh,
installing.
no, I don't know about the registration by default. How does that work?
That's pretty straightforward. They have the sound menu plugin already attached.
Yeah.
And it's working, I got it running here.
I'm talking about packaging and
It's already packaged in the build, just included in the build, it's there by default.
and that will get it picked up by the sound menu.
One thing
I think we're all good. I think we're way closer than we thought. Like we're forgetting something we have to be.
So Notion,
So what about cheese?
cheese,
No
we
cheese.
just know that we
Okay.
cheese. So no evolution in the launcher for the same reason that you can get from
Office?
OpenOffice,
There's
we
no-
want it. We don't have currently.
We don't have what?
Well, we
OpenOffice in the launcher by
I have a
default.
launcher.
No.
So maybe software center.
Well, I think less
Oh,
is
yeah,
more
that's
here.
good.
Yeah, less
Especially
is
like,
more.
I mean, as nice as the stack thingies are, I mean, you don't really know what's behind them, and
So those
there's
software
issues with
centers.
keyboard accelerators and so
You
on.
don't think
So-
so?
And you want to see places when you.
Software centers featured on the deck.
Yeah.
So you
But
don't
this is already in place, right?
Yeah, so we don't need that on the.
So we
get it.
will just have two.
No.
Oh yeah, the Ubuntu one team wants
Yeah,
to
they
be,
want one. Yeah, they're gonna have.
But I
one.
thought you got it from the indicator.
No, they don't.
They want it, they're not, whatever, okay.
So, software center is out, right?
Yeah, it's on the dash, so we don't need it.
Yeah, I mean, you have this hyperhead.
You don't even need that.
Workspace switcher.
And
Work.
that's perfect.
Hey guys, can we like focus?
So we will have 3 launchers by default plus
No,
the
I think we-
switchers and the places.
Yeah, workspace switcher.
So workspace switcher and the 2 places and the trash. So I think it's enough.
Yeah.
For the
So
launcher by default.
what was the other two?
Um, so we have Nautilus, Firefox, Ubuntu One, and then we
Yeah.
have the workspace switcher. We have the application places, the file places, and the trash.
What about Shotwell?
That top, well,
When
when
you-
it already pops up, we can plug in the camera.
Yeah.
Should it be in the files place? Photo management?
In the files place?
Oh, it seems
Yeah.
to me, all stuff management should be in the files place.
The file management experience will be used, but it won't be formatted, so I think it will be. It can be.
Why
There is a bug with
do we have
the-
file places at Nautilus?
Sorry?
Yeah, that's also.
Why are we having,
Because-
Nautilus launcher as well as file places launcher?
Because currently the file place isn't complete enough to do all the operation like drag and drops.
You can't write that.
And Nautilus is a pretty good app, like, we
Yeah.
really have reason to be in a rush to replace it.
Fair.
So we would have that by default plus.
Analysis that it's hierarchical, and sometimes developers need that.
Yeah.
And even users are.
We also needed to eject media and, you know, there's.
So we
Well,
will
isn't
have.
that included into the files place? Like if I plug in a USB stick, it doesn't appear.
It's in the launcher.
Yeah, that's what I
If you
thought.
right click on it
Yeah.
in the launcher, it's not.
What are you saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not right click is not very discovered.
So we will have that by default plus all the desktop file and launchers that has been done, that has been added to the panel and to the desktop of the user. We have a migration script. Yes, it's already in fact done in Maven.
that's
So it's
also-
after search, it's imports.
So when you edit like getting with no launcher, it will automatically.
Exactly. All the desktop file or command line tools and stuff like that are migrated.
Is there like a special place, like a GNOME panel launcher place?
So GNOME panel, no, it's added to the launcher by default.
So is there the GNOME panel launcher place?
No. It's not for the applets, it's just for the desktop file and launchers.
I know, but I mean, so you said migration, so is that reading the actual files, or will it copy the files and put them somewhere else?
No, it's using the actual files.
Okay, that's good. So you can go back and forth and.
No, the migration script is only the first time.
So that was my very question, so is
Okay.
it using generic files and keep them as they are, because then you could go back to GNOME or.
Yeah, but you can't add additional files. So it's just scanning every desktop file you have, so either on your desktop or on the panels, and importing them the first time. But if you add a new file, a new desktop file, it won't be taken. If you modify the desktop file, it will be modified.
So, and it's not possible to just use the launchers where they are now in the panel configuration?
As I said,
Well, I guess in Unity it will still be a desktop file. Or
it's still the desktop file, it's exactly the same desktop file, so if we change the desktop file, there is no issue. The thing is that if you add a new desktop file, it won't be imported.
in the panel.
In the panel, yeah.
Is this session over?
I think there's still 5 minutes.
It didn't say so.
No, but I mean, it's the content, are we finished?
I don't think we have anything else to talk about.
Okay, so I think we should call this
One
session.
thing, the icon, current, something personally. The icon that's now currently being used for the music player in the sound player reminds me mostly of an icon indicating the song and not a player. I think to me it's like
Yeah.
a playlist
Well,
or a song.
well, Mark just said if we put the music player logo in there.
I would find it much better.
Yeah.
Okay.
+1.
So there is just one action for the ARM team because they have also their current seed. As we will remove the Ubuntu Netbook seed, they have also to transition to the Ubuntu Desktop seed. As they are using Netbook Launcher, other application like that, they have an action also. So that's why. So we will remove all the Ubuntu Netbook meta package, the CD.
Okay. When does the Tomboy indicator show? Is it a first launch of Tomboy?
No, it shows when you run Tomboy.
Yeah.
Tomboy has to be
So
running.
the Tomboy becomes.
I don't think it even comes back. I only run Tomboy once you actually run it again after.
So maybe Tomboy should be.
You can just set Tomboy
Put
to
Tom,
auto start.
this is suggesting we put Tomboy on the launcher.
I'd be all for that. I know it's the first thing I always do.
I agree. Can you?
And
But I mean, once you use it the first time, I mean, you will already have it, right?
No,
it
it
doesn't,
start the
it doesn't
session.
show up by default at start at login.
You have to run it for it to be on indicators.
I mean, the alternative could be just add an auto start port and make it run for everybody.
No.
Everybody necessarily wants it. Exactly.
What's wrong with
Exactly.
that?
But just sticking on the launcher means it's discoverable. You just have to click
It
on
seems
it.
like
You
a
know, it's-
completely logical suggestion, and it's really easy to take things off the launcher. So.
Yep.
Okay. So thanks everyone.
Plan of record.
Okay.
Hey, can you paste that to the proceedings like right now? Don't want to quash every rumor.
That's what I do every time.